Hello, my dears, welcome back to Granny's Secret Diary. Sit down, my loves, pour yourselves a cup of tea, and listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you still makes my old heart tremble. Not from fear, but from something deeper, from betrayal. You see, it all began with just one sentence. My own son looked me in the eye and said, "You'll give me half of your pension, won't you, Dad?" And when I got up from that table, everything I thought I knew about family, love, and loyalty began to crumble. Tell me, my dears, have you ever been pushed so far by someone you love that your very soul ached? Have you ever realized, too late, that you'd raised a stranger under your own roof? Stay with me, sweethearts, because the way this story ends, oh, you won't believe it until you hear it. And I promise you, there's a powerful lesson at the end of it all. It started a few months back, when my house was quieter than usual. My wife, God rest her soul, had passed away a few years earlier, and since then I'd lived alone. My son Daniel would visit now and then, not too often, mind you. But whenever he did, he'd walk in with that smile of his, the same one that used to melt my heart when he was a boy. I'd make him tea, ask about his work, his fiancée, lovely girl, Emily, and he'd always be in a rush. I thought, well, that's how the young are nowadays. Always busy, always chasing something. But that day was different. He wasn't smiling. He came in with a tight jaw, sat down at the kitchen table, and started fiddling with his phone. "Dad," he said, not even looking at me, "we need to talk about your pension." At first, I thought I'd misheard. My pension? I chuckled softly, trying to lighten the mood. What's there to talk about? It's not much, you know that. He put his phone down then and looked at me, really looked. There was no warmth in his eyes, just calculation. "Well," he said, "you don't really need all of it, do you? You're alone, the house is paid off. Emily and I are starting a new life, and it's only fair if you help out. Half your pension would make things easier." I stared at him. I couldn't even speak for a moment. My boy, my own flesh and blood, was asking for half of what I'd worked my whole life for. "Daniel," I whispered, "is this about money or something else?" He rolled his eyes. "Dad, don't make it dramatic, it's just practical. You've got enough, we're struggling. I thought you'd want to help." I didn't say yes, and I didn't say no. I just got up from the table, my knees aching, my hands trembling. I walked over to the window, the same one my late wife used to stand by every morning. The sunlight was falling just right, like it always did when she was alive. "You know, Daniel," I said quietly, "your mother and I used to dream about your wedding day. We wanted to see you happy, settled, surrounded by love." He sighed. "Yeah, about that?" he said suddenly. "The engagement party, it's off." My heart skipped. "Off? What do you mean?" And then he said it, just like that, as if it were nothing. "We eloped last week." Eloped. The word hit me like cold rain. My dear wife's ring was still in the box I'd planned to give him for Emily. All those little savings we'd put aside for his big day. Gone. Unnecessary. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. "Why would you hide that from me?" He shrugged, picking up his phone again. "We didn't want a fuss. Besides, it's our life, Dad. You wouldn't understand." My loves, that was the moment I realized something had changed in him. The sweet boy who used to bring me wildflowers from the yard was gone. In his place was a man who looked at me, as though I were just another obstacle in his way. Days passed after that conversation, each one heavier than the last. He'd come by sometimes, always with new demands. "Dad, could you sign this? It'll help us get a loan. Dad, could we move in for a few months? Just until we get our footing." I said yes to the first few things, my dears, because a parent's heart, oh, it doesn't stop loving, no matter how much it hurts. But the final straw came one evening when he arrived unannounced. His face was hard, and Emily followed behind him, avoiding my eyes. "Dad," he said flatly, "we've decided. We're moving in here, you've got space. And with your pension, we can manage together. You'll give us half of it, like we talked about." I remember I stood there, staring at him, the same way I once did when he fell off his bicycle and skinned his knees. Except this time, I couldn't pick him up. I simply said, No. His mouth twisted into a sneer. What do you mean no? You owe me that much after everything. My heart sank. Owe you, Daniel? What could I possibly owe you? And then, my dears, he shouted. He shouted things that cut deep. That I'd never been there enough when he was younger. That I was selfish, that I didn't care about his happiness. Emily tugged his sleeve, whispering, please, not like this. But he pushed her away. That was the man my son had become. Angry, entitled, and blind to love. Now you might be thinking you know how this ends, my loves. Perhaps you think I gave in, or maybe I kicked him out. But trust me, sweethearts, the most unbelievable part of this story is yet to come. What happened next? Oh, it's the very reason this tale sits in my secret diary. A week after that argument, I got a call from the bank. A kind young woman said, Mr. Thompson, we just wanted to confirm your signature on the transfer form for your pension account. My stomach dropped. What form? I asked. She hesitated. It's for the automatic deposit into your son's joint account. We received it yesterday. My blood ran cold. I told her to freeze everything at once and rushed to the drawer where I kept my important papers. The copy of my ID, the pension documents. All gone. My son had stolen them. That night, I waited. When he came by the next day, all smiles, pretending nothing had happened, I looked him dead in the eye and said, Daniel, the bank called. He froze. What? They said someone tried to steal from me. Do you know anything about that? His face went pale. Dad, I can explain. No need? I said quietly, handing him a small envelope. Inside were the car keys I'd promised him years ago, and a letter. What's this? He asked. It's a gift, I said softly. But before you open it, I need you to know something. I went to my lawyer this morning. His eyes widened. What? Yes, I've updated my will. Everything I own. The house, the savings. It's going to charity. You'll get nothing, Daniel. Not a penny. He stood there speechless, the color draining from his face. Emily began to cry softly. I didn't know Mr. Thompson, she whispered. He told me you'd agreed to help us. I nodded gently. I believe you. Dear, you're a good girl. I hope you find happiness, but you won't find it in deceit. Daniel shouted, cursed, and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I haven't seen him since. The next morning, I sat by the same window, the sunlight falling softly over my hands. I felt peace for the first time in months. Sometimes, my loves, the hardest thing a parent can do is let go. To understand that love cannot be forced, and respect cannot be bought. I didn't lose a son that day, I simply discovered the truth about the man he had become. So, my dears, that's why this story found its way into my diary. It's a reminder that trust, once broken, is harder to mend than the strongest glass. It just goes to show you, sweethearts, that a person's true character always reveals itself when money enters the picture. What would you have done if you were in my place? Would you have forgiven him, or turned away as I did? Tell me in the comments. I always love hearing your thoughts. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video. Share it with someone who loves a good twist, and subscribe to Granny's Secret Diary for more true stories from the pages of my heart. Until next time, my loves, keep your hearts kind, your hands steady, and your secrets safe.